Hello everyone, I'm Junaid Khan. I hope you are all fine. So let's start. Today's topic is database for the modern web. In this video lecture, we will learn MongoDB. Why MongoDB? Why not MySQL? Before we understand what MongoDB is, we need to understand issues with traditional RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. First one, scalability. It is difficult to scale millions of data stored in multiple tables or relationship. It is difficult to scale. Next one, flexibility. Fixed data structure, therefore not easy to make a modification to data structure. You need to spend hours and hours on designing the database before development. In agile project, database requires constant restructuring. Third one, performance. Data is generally stored across multiple tables. Joins have huge performance impact as it requires lots of CPU and resources. Need to install and configure complex caching mechanism to make it faster. So we are moving toward MongoDB. Next one, what is MongoDB? It is a NoSQL database called documented database. If you have built web applications in recent years, you have probably used a relational database as the primary data store. If you are familiar with SQL, you might appreciate the usefulness of a well-normalized data model. The necessity of transactions and assurance provided by a durable storage engine. Simply but the relational database is mature and well known. When developers start educating alternative data stores, question about the viability and utility of these new technologies arises. Are these new data stores replacement for relational database system? Who's using them in production and why? What trade-offs are involved in moving to a non-relational database? The answers to those questions rest on the answers to this one. Why are developers interested in MongoDB? MongoDB is a database management system designed to rapidly develop web applications and internet infrastructure. The data model and persistent strategies are built for high read and write throughput and the ability to scale easily with automatic failover. Whether an application requires just one database node or dozen of them, MongoDB can provide surprisingly good performance if you have experienced difficulties scaling relational databases. This may be great news, but not everyone needs to operate at scale. Maybe you all have ever needed is a single database server. Why would you use MongoDB? Perhaps the biggest reason developers use MongoDB isn't because of its scaling strategies, but because of its data model. MongoDB stores its information in documents rather than rows. What's a document or what is a document? Here's an example. In SQL structured query language, we stored data in rows and columns. Like we have three column: ID, username, and email ID. ID, the first row is 07 Blackpearl, and email ID is blackpearl at gmail.com. And same data is stored in MongoDB in a document format. Curly bracket open, ID 07, username is single bracket Blackpearl, and email ID. Okay. Now, this is a pretty simple document. It's storing a few fields of information about a user. What's the advantage of this model? Consider the case where you would like to store multiple emails for each user. Suppose you have college email ID, personal email ID, and office email ID. Then now I want to store it in. Then in the relational world, you might create a separate table of email addresses and the user to which they are associated. MongoDB gives you another way to store these. Suppose you have multiple email IDs, you create a one separate table for all your email IDs, or you create another column in this table. Second example, same we added another column alternate id jk at jk.com. Same thing can be appended in MongoDB. Like email addresses, and we can insert two email addresses in square bracket, right? So, and just like that, you have created an array of email addresses and solved your problem. As a developer, you will find it extremely useful to be able to store a structured document like this in your database without worrying about fitting a schema or adding more tables or columns when your data changes. MongoDB document format. Next is it stores data in flexible JSON like document. Now, MongoDB's document format is based on JSON, a popular scheme for storing arbitrary data structure. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. As you just saw, JSON structure consists of keys and values, and they can nest arbitrarily deep. They are analogous to the dictionaries and hash maps of other programming languages. A document-based data model can represent rich hierarchical data structures. It's often possible to do without the multi-table joins common to relational databases. For example, suppose you are modeling products for an e-commerce site with a fully normalized relational data model. The information for any one product might be divided among a dozen of tables. If you want to get product representation from the database shell, you need to write a SQL query full of joins, right? And it is highly scalable and flexible database. MongoDB comes from humongous database. Humongous means huge database. Now, MongoDB's history. Like we will learn MongoDB from where MongoDB is come. The history of MongoDB is brief but worth recounting, for it was born out of much more ambitious project. In mid 2007, a startup in New York City called Tengen began work on platform as a service. Platform as a service. Sorry for disturbance. Composed of an application server and a database that would host web applications and scale them as needed. Like Google's app engine, Tangent's platform was designed to handle the scaling and management of hardware and software infrastructure automatically, freeing developers to focus slowly on their applications code. Tengen ultimately discovered that most developers didn't feel comfortable giving up so much control over their technology stack, but users did want Tengen's new database technology. This led Tengen to concentrate its efforts on the database that became MongoDB. Tengen has since changed its name to MongoDB and continues to sponsor the database's development as an open source project. The code is publicly available and free to modify and use, subject to the terms of its license. And the community at large is encouraged to file bug report and submit patches. Still, most of MongoDB's core developers are either founders or employees of MongoDB, and the project's roadmap continues to be determined by the needs of the user community and the overcaching goals of creating a database that combines the best feature of relational database, distributed key values stored. Thus, MongoDB business model isn't unlike that of other well-known open source companies. Support the development of an open source product and provide subscription service to end users. This is little bit history about MongoDB. Now, MongoDB's key features. First of all, document data model, ad hoc queries, indexes, replications, speed and durability, scaling. Okay. So document data model. MongoDB's data model is document oriented. If you are not familiar with documents in context of database, the concept can be most easily demonstrated by an example. A JSON document needs double quotes everywhere except for numeric values. The following listing shows the JavaScript version of a JSON document where double quotes aren't necessary. Okay, this is the listing of a document representing an entry of a social news site. ID, object ID, title, adventures in database, URL, author, tags, images, and bracket open fields. Tags stored as array of string arbitrary pointing to another document. This listing shows JSON document representing an article on a social news site. Think Reddit or Twitter. As you can see, a document is essentially a set of property names and their values. The values can be simple data types such as strings, numbers, and dates. But these values can also be arrays and even other JSON document. These latter construct permit document to present a variety of rich data structure. You will see that the simple document has a property which stores the article tags in an array. But more interestingly, the comments property, which is an array of comment document. Where is comment document? This is comments stored as array of common object. Internally, MongoDB stores document in a format called binary JSON or BSON. BSON has a similar structure but intended for storing many documents. When you query MongoDB and get results back, these will be translated into an easy to read data structure. Where relational databases have tables, MongoDB has collections. In other words, MySQL, a popular relational database, keeps its data in tables of rows, while MongoDB keeps its data in collection of documents, which you can think of as a group of documents. Collections are important concept in MongoDB. The data in a collection is stored to disk, and most queries require you to specify which collections you have like to target. Next one, ad hoc queries. To say that a system supports ad hoc queries is to say that it isn't necessary to define in advance what sort of queries the system will accept. Relational database have this property. They will faithfully execute any well-formed SQL query with a number of conditions. Ad hoc queries are easy to take for granted if the only databases you have ever used have been relational, but not all databases support dynamic queries. For instance, key value stores are queryable on one axis only. The values key, like many other systems, like key value stores, sacrifices rich query power in exchange for a similar scalability model. One of MongoDB design goal is to preserve most of the query's power. That's been a fundamental to the relational database world. To see how MongoDB query language works, let's take a simple example involving post and comments. Suppose you want to find all posts tagged with terms politics having more than 10 words. A SQL query would look like this. Select star from post, post is a table, inner join post tags on post ID equal to post ID, inner join and where. This the equivalent query in MongoDB is specified using a document as a matcher. The special $GT $get key indicates that greater than GT is greater than condition. So the all whatever we write the query in SQL, simply in MongoDB db.post.find tags politics vote count greater than colon 10, right? You understand the difference between these two queries? Note that two queries assumes a different data model. The SQL query relies on strictly normalized model, where post and tags are stored in distinct table, whereas the MongoDB query assumes that tags are stored within each post document. But both queries demonstrate an ability to query on arbitrary combination of attributes, which is the essence of ad hoc query ability. Next one, indexes. A critical element of ad hoc query is that they search for values that you don't know when you create the database. As you add more and more documents to your database, searching for a value becomes increasingly expensive. It's a needle in an ever expanding health stack. Thus, you need a way to efficiently search through your data. That's why we need indexes. The solution to this is an index. The best way to understand database indexes is by analogy. Many books have indexes matching keywords to page numbers. Like by using page numbers, we can search. Suppose you have cookbook and want to find recipe. Nowadays, in lockdown, everyone are chef, right? Where we suppose you have a cookbook and want to find all recipes calling for peers. Maybe you have a lot of peers and don't want to them to go back. This time consuming approach would you would go to page through every recipe, checking each ingredient list of pairs. Most people would prefer to check the book's index for the pairs entry, which would give a list of all the recipes containing pairs. Database indexes are data structure that provides this same service. Indexes in MongoDB are implemented as a B-tree data structure. B-tree indexes, also used in many relational databases, are optimized for variety of queries, including range scans and queries with sort clauses. But WireTiger WireTiger has support for log structured merge tree LSM that expected to available MongoDB. Most databases use each document or row primary key, a unique identifier for that data. The primary key is generally indexed automatically so that each data can be efficiently accessed using its unique key. And MongoDB is no different. But not every database allow you to also index the data inside that row or document. These are called secondary indexes. Many SQL databases such as HBase are considered key value stored because they don't allow any secondary indexes. This is significant feature in MongoDB. By permitting multiple secondary indexes, MongoDB allows user to optimize for wide variety of queries. With MongoDB, you can create up to 64 indexes per collection. The kind of indexes supported include all the ones you had find in an RDBM. Relational, ascending, descending, unique, compound key, hashed, text, even geographical indexes are supported, and because MongoDB are most RDBMS use the same data structure for their indexes. Right? First in diagram. Okay, next replications. MongoDB provides database replications via a topology known as replica set. Replica sets distribute data across two or more machines for redundancy and automate failover in the event of server and network. Additionally, replication is used to scale database reads. If you have a read-intensive application, as is commonly the case of on the web, it's possible to spread database read across machines in the replica set cluster. Replica set consists of many MongoDB servers. Usually with each server on a separate physical machine, you will call these nodes. At any given time, one node serves as the replica set primary node and one another node serves as secondaries. Like the master slave replication that you may have familiar with from other databases. A replica set's primary node can accept both reads and writes, but secondary nodes are read-only. What make replica set unique in their support for automated failover? If the primary node fail, the cluster will pick up secondary node and automatically promote it to primary. When the former primary comes to back online, it will do so far as a secondary. As mentioned in the figure, secondary and primary. If primary goes down, secondary will work. As soon as primary is get over, it work as a secondary. Now next and last part, speed and durability and scaling. speed and durability. To understand MongoDB approach to durability, it pays to consider a few ideas first. In the real time, a database system, there exists an inverse relationship between write speed and durability. Write speed can be understood as the volume of inserts, update and deletes that a database can process in a given frame time. Durability refers to level of assurance that these write operations have been made permanent. For instance, suppose you write 100 records of 50 KB each to database and then immediately cut the power on the server. Will those records be recoverable when you bring the machine back online? The answer depends on your database system, its configuration and it's the hardware hosting it. Most databases enable good durability by default, so you are safe if this happens. For some applications like sorting logs lines, it might make more sense to have faster writes. Even if you risk data loss, the problem is that writing to magnetic hard drive is orders of magnitude slower than writing to RAM. Certain databases, let it be. Next one, scaling. The easiest way to scale most database is to upgrade the hardware. If your application is running on a single node, it usually possible to add some combination of faster disk, more memory and beneficial CPU to ease any database bottlenecks. The techniques of augmenting in a single node hardware for scaling is known as vertical scaling or scaling up. Vertical scaling has the advantages of being simple, reliable and cost effective up to the certain point, but eventually you reach a point where it is no longer feasible to move to a better machine. It then makes sense to consider scaling horizontally or scaling out. In the figure, scaling horizontally instead of beefing up single node. Scaling horizontally means distributing the database across multiple machines. Horizontally scaling architecture can run on many smaller, less expensive machines, often reducing your hosting cost. What's more, the distribution of data across machine, the consequences of failure, machine will unavoidably fail from time to time. If you have scaled vertically and machine fails, then you need to deal with failure of a machine on which your most system depends. This may not be issue if copy of the data exists on replicated slab, but it's still the case that only single server need fail to bring down easily entire system. Contrast that with failure inside a horizontally scaled architecture. This may be less catastrophic. Single machine represent a much smaller percentage of system as a whole. MongoDB was designed to make horizontal scaling manageable. It does so via range-based partitioning mechanism known as sharding, which automatically manages the distribution of data across nodes. There's also hash and tag based sharding mechanism, but it's just another form of the range based sharding mechanism. So that's it from today's lecture. In tomorrow lecture we will learn JavaScript or shell in MongoDB. Thank you very much.